Yeah. Aloha, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. I just wanted to make a quick video, and first off, tell everybody out there how awesome you are. I hope I hope you guys wake up in the morning and you get in the mirror and you kind of flirt with yourself and tell yourself how good looking you are and how smart you are and how awesome the world is. Times can be tough, but I had this dream last night. Not that it's prophetic or anything, but it just got me thinking. Like I've been thinking a lot about our environment and our world and this whole COVID-19 stuff. And regardless of what people think about COVID, I'm not here to talk about COVID, but I just want to introduce this thing. The idea of biological warfare, like, think about that for a minute. Like, no matter what country you're in, your country spends millions, if not billions of dollars trying to create these man made viruses or these biological weapons that can just devastate humanity, gain of function. And like, we create drugs that are crazy, right? And so I wrote down some stuff, and I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this. All right. First off, I'm going to read it, and then I'll try to throw a little commentary that way. So here's how it is. Reality unfolds like a protein. The atomic is the same as the cosmic. Okay. Let's I think this whole pandemic it's emblematic of where mankind is today. That which plagues us is made by man. Like, if we made the virus, like, think about how crazy that is. Like, we're not even affected by nature. Like, we have to create our own viruses. But hang on, it's gonna get good here in a minute, man. I just gotta open it up with this. Okay, you know, if we can create a virus that could wipe out the planet, or a virus that could decimate the world's population, should it not be possible to create a virus that would empower the population? There you go, right? Like, think about that. Like, what? I'm gonna cuss a minute. Should I cuss? I'll just do it one time. What the fuck are we doing? Like, what kind of drugs are we making? Like, we're making weapons of war? Imagine this. Like, what if you could make a virus? Like, theoretically, with CRISPR and all the technology we have, we could make a virus that would make people awesome. Instead of trying to create a virus that kills people or like makes you bleed from every orifice, like, what if we made a virus that made people have empathy? And like, once a year, instead of catching a cold, you would catch the empathy virus. And all of a sudden you went around and started like listening to people and being like, oh, God damn it, that sucks, man. Can I help you? Like, think about that. You would get bit by a mosquito, or you would catch this empathy virus that would try to make you a better person. So to get there, you have to start thinking about, like, why do we make the drugs we make? Like, why does Pfizer and why does Eli Lilly and why does the pharmaceutical industry make the drugs that they make? Like, we make drugs that mask the symptoms of despair, right? People that have depression, people that have anxiety, people that have freaking restless leg syndrome. Like, we make all these drugs so that people can get up and face a life that is incredibly difficult. And it is hard, right? Remember, Bob Marley said, every man thinks his burden is the heaviest. And it is, man. Your life's freaking hard. What would we need to do? What would society need to do in order to make different drugs? We would need to look at the world different. And I have an idea for this. Like, what if we as a society, like, what if we treated greed the way we treat depression? Think about it. Like, people that are depressed are usually kind of ashamed of themselves in some weird way. And we've covered, like, your life is hard. You've probably been depressed, and you probably know people who have been depressed. And like, it can be a killer. It can be a killer. But why don't we treat greed that way? Like, think about it. Like, I've named off all these different drugs for anxiety, depression, but not one company is working on a drug for greed. Like, what if all of a sudden we as a society just deemed greed as a mental illness? Like, man, did you hear about John? What about him, man? Dude, he came down with the Silverstein Rothschild disease. Yeah, man, it's bad. He's been making like $50 million a year, and like, his family's ruined. He's got it bad. Oh man, how's his family? Yeah, they're doing better. I guess they got John on 500 milligrams of MDMA every day now. But you know what I mean? Like, if our psychiatrist could list greed as a mental illness, and we could put it in the medical literature and the DSM-5 or the DSM-10 or whatever DSM we're on right now. Like, we could fundamentally change the way we treat each other by changing how we react and how we classify people's states of mind, because that's basically what we do, right? Oh, this person's depressed, they're sick, they need to see a doctor. Oh, this person has anxiety, they can't go outside. Well, dude, I think people that are greedy, I think the fundamental human condition of greed is just as much of a mental illness as any of those other ones, right? Like, let's talk about the mechanism of action as well. People who are depressed, they take an antidepressant. No reason why we can't have an anti-greed, but an antidepressant works by releasing dopamine or other neurotransmitters into the brain, flooding it, making people feel good about them. Of course, I'm not a doctor or no more than Dr. Pepper or Dr. Dre, but I'm pretty sure if we did some studies, we could find a way, especially with CRISPR technology. Couldn't we go in and fundamentally engineer like an mRNA vaccine that would inject small amounts of MDMA or some sort of protein that would attack cortisol levels or whatever it is that is activated in somebody's mind when they're greedy? Like, I think we should do some research on that. And I think that if you look back at the 60s, like, there was people going around and while I don't condone everything that they did, like, you had the electric Kool-Aid acid test and the merry pranksters that were going around trying to open up people's eyes with psychedelics. And, now we have the pharmaceutical companies going around and telling everybody how depressed they are. But I think we could fundamentally change society. And it doesn't, look, man, greed, it doesn't care what color you are. It doesn't care what gender you are, or, it doesn't care about any of these things that are dividing us. But it is something that divides us. And it's something that doesn't unite us. There's no unification in greed. Greed is a way to just make everybody around you hate you or feel inferior, or it's a strange way to accumulate bullshit to make yourself feel better about yourself. But what if society put pressure on people to be like, man, you're so greedy. Look at you, man. Have you seen a doctor for that? They make a pill for that now. Like, what if Pfizer came out with a pill for greediness? Like, we could fundamentally change it there, I think. That's pretty much the crux of it. I think I'm gonna start this new series called, like, New Drugs. Like, if you guys could create a new drug, what would it be like? If you could make a man-made virus, what would it be like? Because you can go in now with technology and CRISPR, and you can, they're doing things now that are going to fundamentally change who we are, what we look like, and how we act forever. Shouldn't we have some say in that? It just seems to me like there's this medical elite. There's like this group of people that maybe they have a plan, but I don't know what it is. You guys know what it is? And that's another thing too. What are we doing? We get up, we go to work, and it seems like we just produce just for the sake of producing. Does anybody know what the long-term plan is? Are we going transhumanism, or like what's the game plan? What's the long-term plan? Well, that's what I got for right now. I'm super stoked to see everybody. I totally love you guys. And think about, what would the world look like if we could create new drugs? And you listen to this right now. If you were going to make a new drug, what would it be? Would it be a virus? Would it be some sort of way to see different colors? Or would you create a drug that could make you speak a different language? Like, if you were going to make a new drug, what would it be and why? Leave it in the comments down there. I love you guys. Aloha.